Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Nidhi Taneja. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 16th of December. India-Bangladesh observe Victory Day, remember martyrs of 1971 war. Watchdog raises concern over deportation of Afghan war criminal from UK. And now for all the details. India and Bangladesh on Friday paid tribute to its martyrs who laid their lives during India-Pakistan war of 1971, which led to the creation of Bangladesh. 16 December is marked as Victory Day in both the countries.
Indian Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar joined the nation in paying tributes to the martyrs who laid their lives during the India-Pakistan War of 1971, which led to the creation of Bangladesh. Parrikar, along with the three service chiefs, paid tributes to the brave hearts at the Amar Jawan Jyoti, or the Flame of Immortal Soldier, in national capital New Delhi on Vijay Divas or Victory Day. Victory Day is observed on 16 December to mark the military triumph over Pakistan in 1971, which led to the creation of Bangladesh. On this day in 1971, the Chief of Pakistani Forces, General Amil Abdullah Khan Naizi, along with 93,000 troops, had surrendered unconditionally to the Allied forces consisting of Indian Army and Mukti Bahini or Liberation Forces, led by General Jagjit Singh Arora in Dhaka after their defeat in the war.
I don't have to stress the importance of the day. It's a day when we achieved a decisive victory and created a new country.
Meanwhile, in capital Dhaka, Bangladesh, President Abdul Hamid and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina also paid tributes to the martyrs of the Liberation War at the National Martyrs Monument. The leaders placed wreaths at the National Monument at Savar, observing 46th Victory Day. After the war, it was estimated that more than 1,111 Bangladeshi intellectuals were murdered during the whole war.
Staying on news from India, Pakistan on Friday resorted to heavy firing along the line of control or LOC in Balakot sector of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province.
Pakistani forces on Friday violated ceasefire and initiated indiscriminate firing along the LOC in Balakot sector of Poonch district in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. The Indian Army posts retaliated strongly and effectively. The firing has now stopped. The violation comes just 2 days after India's border security forces foiled an infiltration bid by an ex-Pakistani army man. There have been over 100 ceasefire violations by Pakistani troops along the international border in recent months. Relations between India and Pakistan have been strained for several months after attacks on India's military base, while cross-border shelling has intensified, leading to deaths of civilians and soldiers stationed along the disputed frontier.
The winter session of the Parliament was a complete washout as both the houses continued to witness deadlock that began with the start of the session. A report.
Chaos continued to reign on the last day of the winter session in both Lok Sabha or the lower house and Rajya Sabha or the upper house of the Parliament. Rajya Sabha Chairman Hamid Ansari expressed disappointment over the washout of the session on Friday. The standoff between the Treasury and opposition benches in both houses over demonetization severely hit the legislative business of the month-long session. The primary development of the session was the passage of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill in the Parliament, paving the way for it to be turned into a law. However, it lacked a constructive discussion on demonetization, the most radical step ever introduced in India to target black money, fake currency and later packaged as a model for a big digital push by Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government.
Moving on to news from Pakistan. Pakistan on Friday marked the second anniversary of the Army Public School massacre in Peshawar. More than 140 people, mostly students, were killed in one of the most brutal militant attacks in Pakistan.
Pakistan on Friday marked the second anniversary of the Army Public School massacre in Peshawar. A memorial was held at the military-run school 2 years after terrorists perpetrated the most devastating violence in Pakistan, killing over 140 people, mostly students. The Peshawar District Administration announced a public holiday in the provincial capital on Friday to commemorate the second anniversary. On December 2, 2015, Pakistan hanged 4 men tried in secret military courts for their involvement in the massacre.
Moving on to news from Afghanistan. The Human Rights Watch in a statement expressed concerns towards the deportation of notorious commander of Hezb-e-Islami led by Gulbuddin Hekmatyar. The deportation of Commander Faryadi Zardat from the UK to Afghanistan poses danger for witnesses who testified against the former warlord. Zardat was convicted in 2005 for torture and hostage-taking. He arrived in Kabul on Wednesday. The Watchdog called on the UK government to take immediate measures to protect witnesses by expediting asylum procedures and relocation outside Afghanistan. Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Dozens of journalists protested in the Sri Lankan capital of Colombo after a Navy commander assaulted a journalist earlier this month. The journalist was said to be assaulted while covering a strike by employees of the southern port.
Journalists in Sri Lanka's capital Colombo city on Thursday protested after a Navy commander assaulted a fellow journalist earlier this month. The incident happened when journalists were covering a strike by employees of the Hambantota port. The incident happened when journalists were covering a strike by employees of the Hambantota port, according to local media. Navy Commander Vice Admiral Ravindra Gunaratne led a Navy unit to disperse the 400 striking dock workers that seized a Japanese-owned vessel.
වෙන මොනවත් නෙවෙයි ආණ්ඩුවට මේ මර්ධනකාරී ක්‍රියාවලිය නවත්තන්න මොකද පහුගිය මහින්ද මහත්තයාගේ ආණ්ඩුව කාලෙත් අපි මෙතනම මේ ආකාරයෙන්ම විරෝධතා කරා අපේ බදුල්ලේ සහෝදරයාට ගහපු වෙලාවේ.
Gunaratne can be seen pushing a journalist in video footage captured by local broadcaster, which sparked an outcry among the local journalist community. The Sri Lankan government has set up a 3-member committee to look into the incident. Sri Lanka's Justice Minister Vijayadasa Rajapakse expressed concern over the Navy commander's conduct as he was not in his uniform, according to local media.
Meanwhile, villagers in India's western Maharashtra province have turned tech-savvy. With the announcement of demonetization of high currency notes, people have turned to digital payments.
A village in Aurangabad district of India's western Maharashtra province became the first to switch to cashless transaction in the province following demonetization of high-value banknotes last month. Authorities at the bank in Jadgaon village have linked the Aadhaar cards of villagers to their bank accounts, allowing them to make payments through it. The Aadhaar biometric database scheme, started 7 years ago, was set up to streamline payment of benefits and cut down on massive wastage and fraud. An Aadhaar card, a unique identification card of India, doubles up as a debit card once linked to a person's bank account.
मेरे जेब में 50 रुपए थे और 50 रुपए मैंने खाते में डाल दिया और खाते में डाल देने के बाद ये जो मित्र मंडल मिल गए तो उनको वो बोले मेरे को चाय पिलाओ तो मैंने बोला चलो होटल में मैं होटल में आ गए हम मेरे पास आधार कार्ड था और यहाँ कैशलेस की मशीन भी थी मैंने उनको दे दिया होटल वाले को और 4 कट पी लिया.
The village has about 2,500 persons, out of which 2,120 persons have accounts with the rural bank. The move to demonetize the large bills is designed to bring billions of dollars worth of cash in unaccounted wealth in the mainstream economy as well as dent the finances of Islamist militants who target India and are suspected of using fake 500 rupee notes to fund operations.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. India-Bangladesh observe Victory Day, remember martyrs of 1971 war. Watchdog raises concern over deportation of Afghan war criminal from UK. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Good night. Have a great weekend.